So after we discussed how to create a Spring project, how to initialize it, what is the group, what is the artifact, what is the name, and how to add dependencies, and and we also learned how to import the Maven structure itself into the Eclipse, and we also analyzed few elements of formed XML file. So today let's deep dive more and just understand how the actual application works in Spring. So this called a project. So when you're in Eclipse and you see the project explorer, the very first thing you see is called the project. Spring Boot CRUD operation is the project. Within that you have something called as a package. Project, a package. Within the package you have sub packages, and within the packages you have something called as class. That is a .java file. And this .java will have methods and variables. So and you have something called as src main Java. src main Java folder will have Java classes which has the actual business logic in it. The business logic. Then you have src main resources. This folder will have all the resources, meaning your HTML files, your JSP files, or the JS files, or the property files. All these are called as your resources. Like they don't contribute to your Java code. So whatever is the Java code, you put it in your src main Java folder, and whatever is the properties, HTML or JSP files, you put them in your resources folder. Then comes your src test Java package. So here, whatever is the whatever is your test, what do you call it, the unit test. So whatever unit test you want to do, you can put them in your SRC test Java folder, and these will be automatically built when you import when you import your Maven build. So these are all the files which will automatically build when you import it to your Eclipse. So whenever we are trying to import the file to our Eclipse, here like in the top bottom right hand corner, you'll see something called as importing project 9%, 10%, it extends up to 100%. So that means what it is going to do is we're going to download all the dependencies and put it in the project directory. So we only need to worry about src main Java, src main resources, and src test Java. And there's a file called as formed XML file. So this is the actual file which will tell you like what is the project and what dependencies our project require. How are we going to build the project? So to see each and every element, we're using the model Spring Boot the Spring mod the framework 4.0.0, and this is the parent tag where you have so these are already predefined. Okay, and group ID, artifact ID, version, name, description. So this is the one which we have given yesterday, like when we are initializing the project using the Spring Initializer. Then we're specifying the Java version as 1.8 dependencies. So each and everything is a jar file for you. So under the dependencies tag, you have multiple dependencies. Each and every dependency will act that's a jar file. Jar means Java archive. So if you want to make use of your make use of a web module, you use the web jar. We know that Spring Boot is a framework, which is support multiple framework. If you want to make use of web framework, you need a jar here. If you want to use the data JPA, you need a jar file here. Similarly, if you want database, use the jar. If you want if you want to for the unit test, you need again a jar. So for testing, you need this jar. So each and every dependency is called a jar. How do you know what jar to use and how are you going to get this whole syntax? We know that format XML. Format XML means that's a descriptor for Maven build. And tomorrow, now in a current application, we are trying to make use of H2 database. Yesterday we discussed that H2 database is a database which is an in-memory database. So tomorrow you come up with a new what you call a new requirement which they will ask us to work with MySQL database. So MySQL Maven. Just click on Just use keyword. That's it. MySQL connector, Maven repository. Click on that. Here you'll get multiple versions. Pick up the version. So so all these versions have so many vulnerabilities. Pick up a version which does not have any vulnerability, or pick up a version which your current project is using. Just pick some version, and here you'll get this dependency, group ID, artifact ID, and version. Just click on this. It will be copied and put it in your Eclipse. So here there's no formatting, right? Control A, Control Shift F is a shortcut. It will automatically format. So this way, if you want to add a jar to your project, simply add it as a dependency. How to get the dependency from your Maven? This is MVN repository, Maven repository. So most of the jar files will be present within your Maven repository only. Suppose if there are project specific jar files, that means there will be code which are very specific to your client. Like let's say if you're working for a finance company, and bank A will have its own source code, bank B will have its own source code. So bank A will use only its specific jar files which are custom built, because for example, take the authentication. Like if you take the authentication of SBI Bank and take the authentication of HDFC Bank, both are two different frameworks. So for authentication, HDFC Bank will use one jar, and for authentication, SBI will use some other jar. So each and every framework will have its own jars. Based on that, you need to add them as a dependencies. And if there's any custom jar, they're going to put in their own repository. From the repository, you can simply import them into the pom.xml. Is this clear? What is a dependency and what is the user for dependency?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So the very first thing which you can do once you clone the project is right click on pom.xml, click on Maven install, run as Maven install. So what this will do is, whatever dependencies you have here, it will download everything from the Maven repository. Running, just a minute. Let me show another bill. Just a minute. Okay. So once you do the Maven install, you'll get this. So a minute, PC, Windows C, user. If you go .m2 folder and you go to repository, you'll get you get all the jar files. So whatever you install from your Maven, like using the pom.xml, all the jar files will be downloaded in your your username .m2 and repository folder. So how do we identify them? Take this. Now you can see it is com.h2 database. So go to com h2 database h2 h2 set the version. Here you'll get the jar file. So this jar file, executable jar file, meaning it's an executable Java archive. So this h2 database jar file is a dependency for my project. That's the meaning. Clear? What is why are you going to use a dependency, and how are you going to use a dependency, and where is the dependency stored? It's stored in your C like Windows C uses your username .m2 folder, and under repository you'll be able to see all the jar file.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So this will complete our folder structure itself, like the project, the package, the packages, what is the Java directory, what is the resource directory, and what is the testing directory, and what is the a simple XML file. So this is how like most of your Spring project will be looking. Now, if you expand your search in Java, you have COM Java, the controller, model, repository, and service. So you take any application within like within the industry, which is a Spring Boot application, you'll be able to see a similar structure in this way. Similar structure. Currently, it has the same structure because instead of repository, they'll be using something called as DAO or DTO. Instead of model, they can put it as POJO. So there are different nomenclatures, but you'll see the similar structure. Controller, service, model, repository. So I'll explain you what each and everything will do. So com.java, this is the base package. Okay, this has something called as Spring Boot application. This is the annotation. Whether it's Spring Boot application, it has only one method. What is the method? It is a main method, and Spring application dot run. What to run? The Spring Boot application itself. So this is simple, like this is a class which is annotated as a Spring Boot application, and it will have only one method. So upon running this class, we discussed it. Once I trigger this class, it will initialize all classes. It will install the Conquer server, it will install the database, it will bring the local server. So it will do all these things. How is it going to do? Just because this one annotation and this input annotation. Okay, so whenever you run the source code Spring Boot application, the very first thing you'll be going to see is this one. Top application.java. And that will have this Spring Boot at the Spring Boot annotation will be there present. That will be present there. Next comes here model. Next comes here model class. Model means take an employee class. Just think of employee list of employees. So now take employee, just a simple employee as an object. What does employee have? Employee will have an employee ID. He has employee name. He has some age. He has some gender. He or she. So one employee can be described using four attributes: name, ID, age, and gender.
Your voice is breaking.
Oh, is it? Is it clear now?
Okay, but
Is it clear for everyone? It's Stanford. Yeah.
no, now totally it gone. Like it's breakage.
Hmm. Well, just a minute. Hello, is it clear now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So if you take the employee as an object, it can be described with these four attributes: the name, age, gender, and his ID. So these four attributes are called as like you can merge them into into a package called as model. A model will describe what attribute another can have. Take it in that way. So here I have taken the book example. So if I want to describe a book, I need to have a book ID, the book name, and the author of the book, and the price. So whatever data I can play with, using this, like I can play with using this application. This is the only data which I can play with. Book ID, book name, author, and price. So I'm going to put them as a model item. As I'm going to put them in the model package, taking them as the attributes, which will describe my object. What is object? Book. So here we'll be using multiple annotations. The very first thing is @entity. Entity specifies that class is an entity and is mapped to a database table. So we know that a database is collection of tables. We know that. Now, if you want to perform some operations on the database, you use SQL statement. From Java, if you want to perform some operations on the database, you need to make use of class. So you're telling that okay, use class as a database table by adding this at the entity annotation. Clear? Instead of you writing a direct SQL query, I'm telling Spring Boot that okay, make use of book class. Come on, I'm telling Spring Boot that okay, make use of this book class and just take that book class as a table by telling that it is an empty class. Then we have something called as table. So this table annotation will allow you to specify the details of the table that will be used to process the entity in the database. So if you add this table annotation, um, the table will be created with the name of book. So Spring Boot will identify the annotation and will tell that and it will recognize that okay, so and so class has a table annotation. That means this class should be used as a table for my database. So when it is initializing the database, it can create a table called as that's the meaning. Now the table will have columns again. So it should have ID, name, author, and price. So we need to explicitly provide we need to tell Spring Boot that okay, whatever names I'm giving you now, those are the column names. Hence you use a column annotation there. So if you put column annotation and if you just pass in the book ID, this book ID, book name, author, and price, all these attributes will be taken as the columns in the database. And on top of it, you have something called as ID. So, like if you have it's a little bit of knowledge when you're working with SQL, you have something called as primary keys and foreign keys. So each and every table should have they will have a primary key. Primary key is the unique key. That means there'll be no two primary keys which are similar, which are same. It is always unique. For that, you need to put something called as ID. So ID annotation specifies the primary key of an entity, and generated value provides for the specification of the generation strategies for the values of primary keys. Let's say, what does that mean is, if you put generated value and if you provide some input there, what it will do is now, let's say, okay, student ID for school A is AA1, AA2. Okay, after A9, it will go to AB1, AB2, AB3, A9. After that, AC. After that, then the sequence goes on. After it reaches AZ, then it will come to BA, BB, BC. This is a pattern. So if you put this generated value and if you add a pattern here, so without you taking the value and incrementing it, it automatically append the value for you. Now, meaning, let's say you took admission to the school A. So your student ID will be AA1. For the second time, uh, there's a student B who will come and join school A. So his student ID should be AA2. So who is determining what is the number of the student? It is this one with the generated value, which is going to determine okay My current value in the database is A1. So whatever whoever comes next should have a value of A2. For the third time, it will be A3. Fourth, A4, this way. So the generated value is the annotation, which will be given for a primary key. Is it clear? What is ID and what is the column? Yes, no.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So once you create your model class, that means this is the only data which you're going to play with now. The weapons you have in your hand is book ID, book name, author, and price. So whatever data you want to play with, these are the only columns which you're going to play. Now I need to have some I need to have something called as a repository. Okay, so so this is an interface, public interface books repository. This is going to extend your CRUD repository. CRUD repository means create, read, update, and delete. CRUD CRUD. Let me just add it as a comment here.
So the
Create,
crude operations, right?
yeah. So these are called the CRUD operations. So you're extending the CRUD repository, and the CRUD repository is expecting your the model class and the type of the class. So so by default, whatever I'm going to my primary key is integer value because I kept at the rate ID, and I'm going to I'm going to insert a integer value for book ID. So I kept as integer here, and what is the table which I'm going to work on? Books, because book has updated entity annotation. So book class is called as a table for me. My book has updated entity annotation and a table annotation. That means I can use this book class for making all the database operations. What are the database operations? Create, read, update, and delete. Then next comes my controller class. Controller class marks as the entry point of your application. Like if you are hitting a request from a browser, so the very first thing which it should hit is a controller class. So it is a convenient annotation that combines controller and response body, which eliminates the need to annotate every request handling method of the controller class with the response body annotation. Spring REST controller annotation is used to create RESTful web services using Spring MVC. So there's nothing much to discuss here. We are just marking the class as controller. That means whenever you are bringing up the application, that telling Spring Boot that okay, this is a controller class. By making use of that, with the REST controller annotation. That's it. So a convenience annotation that is itself annotated with the controller and response body. So without this annotation, control slash minute. So without this annotation, Spring does not know that the controller is a controller class. So if you enable this annotation, on this Spring will know that okay, so and so class is a controller class. That means whenever I hit a request, it should first come and hit this service, hit this class. Next comes your direct auto-wide annotation. So this is where your dependency injection, your IOC will come in picture. So auto-varying is a feature of Spring Framework, which will enable you to inject the object dependency implicitly. Um,
It means itself it will take the object dependency, right?
yeah. So what is this? This is my object creation, right? Book service 2.
Bhavant?
Yeah.
What is the exact meaning of implicity?
Implicitly, like
Implicit.
yeah. So there are two types: implicit and explicit. Explicit means 37th line is explicit. 37th
Your
line.
voice is not clear.
Oh, sorry about that.
Speaking when you're speaking.
Today I have network issues. Now is it clear?
Yeah.
Okay, I removed my headphones. Yeah. So 37th line is called me explicit.
No, I didn't get this implicity.
I'll tell you. So
Okay.
37th line, I created an object by using the new keyword, and I'm initializing the book service constructor. With this constructor, I'm going to create a new object called as book service 2. So this is my object which I've created explicitly. But if you use at the rate AutoWord annotation, book service, that's it. So with this book service object, you can you can get all the objects with all the methods which are present within the book service class. This is called as implicit. So for me, book service is a dependency for me, and I want to inject that by creating an object. So I'll use the AutoWord annotation and just create an object out of that. Enables you to inject the object dependency implicitly. That's the meaning. You understand it?
Yeah.
Now, what is like you create an explicit way also. Like just now how I wrote book service 2 equal to new book service, and if you write um, book service dot get, I'll get all books and get books by ID. So this is working fine for me. If I type book service 2 dot get, even this is giving me all the methods which are present within the book service class. So book service 2 is an object of book service, and book service is also an object of book service. This is the implicit way by getting the object by using the AutoWord annotation class. This is the explicit way. I'm directly calling the constructor of the book service. Did you get a difference now? I think Durbabu has the doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, okay. Now, so we mark the class as the REST controller, and we also we also auto-write. That means we are also trying to inject the dependency of book service into our controller. Now we have something called as get mapping, delete mapping, post mapping, and mapping. So within our course, we're going to learn about these four types of four types of HTTP methods: get, put, post, and delete. So what does that mean is, if you see get mapping, it is set to /book. Now just let me run my application. If you see, the Tomcat has started on port number 8080. So Control V. Localhost is my host. And on 8080, my application started /books. What is that? Okay, it is book, right? book. Okay. So I got a blank response. Use Control Shift I to open the developer tools. Control Shift I and click on preserve log and simply refresh the request here. So whatever request you make here, it will be visible in the developer tools. Click on book and you see request method is set to get. Get means you're trying to get the data from your database. That is called as get. See the preview. Whatever preview you see here, this is the same preview which you're going to see here. Now, let's take post mapping. Post mapping is when you want to put data, like when you want to save some data into a database, you then use a post mapping. So this post mapping has a URL value of books. So if I type here books, you'll get a 405. 405 means it's a method not allowed error. Method not allowed error. You are see, I'm trying to get the value. I'm trying to get the value of this URL. So it is thinking that okay, request method is get. But what is the exact method? It is post mapping. So you cannot simply trigger a post method within a browser. Okay, I'll tell you how to trigger them. Next comes here put mapping. Put mapping also has the same value called books. So even that will show you the same error if you trigger books. Delete mapping book and book ID. Okay, since I don't have any data, we can like once I have data, I'll explain the delete mapping presentation also. So like, are people able to understand like what is a get mapping and what is a post mapping? If you want to get something from a database, simply use the get mapping annotation and provide the URL. Based on this URL, you'll get a list of all the books. If you want to save the data, give it as a post mapping, and just save the book. You can save the book to the database. Like just understand the just understand the overall summary of the annotation. Once we go into the service class, it will be very clear for you. Like if you're not able to understand the get mapping or post mapping concept, tell me again. I'll just repeat it. Might be quite confusing, but yeah, you just tell something, yes or no, anything. If it's required, I can ask for an extra class also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's say I have a simple method called as get all books. So it has a get mapping and I have the URL /book. Now if I go to my Chrome browser, if I type it as book, I'm getting a blank response. So why am I getting a blank response? If you see private, this is an access modifier. So list of books is a return type and get all books. This is the method name. What am I going to return? Book service dot get all books. Just hold the control over here and click on implementation. So here you have a different annotation called as @service annotation. So today we learned about REST controller, entity, table, AutoWare, ID, column. These are the annotations which are most commonly used. And now you have something called as @service. So @service annotation means that okay, this is the class which has all the business logic involved in it. That means whatever class is annotated with @service annotation, we are telling Spring that Okay, this class is annotated with @Spring annotation. So this class has a business logic involved in it. That's the meaning. Clear? Now here, let's say, let me take this saver update method. Public void saver update. I'm taking books as the input parameter. And what am I going to do? I'm just taking books repository dot just save the books. So if you see the books repository, this has no methods in it. It has nothing, but it is extending the CRUD repository. That means whatever methods are present within the CRUD repository, I will be able to access them. That's why if I just click on save. So save is coming from your CRUD repository class. So whatever entity you pass it, it will simply save it. It will simply save to the database. So let me give a small example. Let's say now this is the Postman API, the Postman complete user interface. So once you launch your Postman, you first simply need to create a collection out of it. Just provide some name, expand it. Here, click on add a request. Based on a request, if it's a get request, get all books. Click on these three dots. Just click on add request. Add a book. Change the type to post because we're trying to add something to our database. HTTP localhost /book only. Wait, hold on. Sorry. What is the for post mapping? It is books. Okay, so it is books. Okay, and my book this book is in my control class. So because it's the entry point for me. Now, my save book method is expecting something called as books. So that is annotated with request body. That means I need to pass this books object to this method. So click on body, click on raw, change the type to JSON. Put as book ID. How to pass book ID? We know the model, right? Just open the model. Your model is consisting of book ID, book name, author, and price. So copy book name, paste, value. So whatever which I'm writing is called as a JSON, JavaScript object notation. So we are going to work with JSON type of data only. Author, price, okay. I just put from a book ID as 111, book name as something and something. And if I just click on send here, so I got a response of 200 status. Okay. So if I go and click on get all the books here, HTTP localhost. What is the get all URL? Go to your controller class. See the get all the books. Your URL is book. So simply add book here. Hit send. You're going to get this. Author price book ID book name. Oh. We change the name. Function. If I just click on get all the books here, so it gives me list of books which are present within my application. So if you go to Chrome, click on book. You see the data here now. If you click on book here, this is the get URL. See the preview. Your whatever response you see within your page, that is your that is the response which you're going to see here. So as a backend developer, you're going to give this response to your front-end developers. And what front-end developers will do is, okay, so they have author, key, and getter as the value. The price as the key and 1 to 3 as the value. Book ID as something and 0 as the value. So they have everything in a key value pair. So what they're going to do, they're going to map each and every value to a table, and they'll simply visualize it. Like they'll put it in this way: license as the key, GPL 2.0 is the value, categories as the key, JDBC drivers as the value. So how are you going to get all this data? You as a backend developer, you're going to provide that data to the front end. So front end team will get all this data by the backend team, and then they're going to visualize all this data in a neat table format. That's so this is called an API URL, request URL or the API URL. So front end team will first hit this API URL, it will get the response, and they're going to show the response on the front end page. This is just a simple application where you're going to add add objects to your database and retrieve them from your database. A simple application. So if you now there's one more concept called as your application properties, but I think that will take time. Are you clear with these topics? Like whatever we discussed till now? I'll request for one half an hour, one more session on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until this, is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
I think we'll
Good.
need to go through one more time.
Yeah. Go through it one more time, then you'll get to know.
Yes.
If you want, I can debug it for you also. Just a minute. Then you'll get to know how it is working. See, I'll show you it. Let's say if you want to get all the books, I'll put a breakpoint here. Now, just click on, now go to get all books. It's a get URL. This is the URL. You click on send. See where it is stopping. Did you see?
Yeah.
This marks your entry point. That means whatever URL you give there and whatever URL you provided here, if both are matching, it simply come to that method. Based on because it is get mapping, because I kept the request type as get, right? Hence it will search for get mapping, and then it will search whatever is there after your localhost 8080 port. It is set to book. So it will come to book. Now it will go to the execution part. Get all books. I'll simply put the breakpoint here. Click on F6. Sorry, F6. It came here. What is this? List of books equal to list of books. Books equal to new array list of books. We are using the collection framework. If you say books, it is an empty list. Now, books repository dot find all for each books one. This is called the lambda expression. It's a lambda operator. Books dot and books one. That means whatever is within the books repository, whatever how many ever books are there, get those books and simply store them. I'll click on F6. Now see the books. Oops, still not there. Return function f6. Yeah. It's going to get everywhere. Just a minute. Let me see poly breakpoints. Forward the response. What is error? Sending request. Skip all breakpoints. Forward. And yesterday we discussed that in-memory, like H2 database is an in-memory database. So once you stop the server, whatever data which I tried to add previously, everything will be lost. So let me again add these two books. Not accepting string. One, two, three. Send 2, 3, 4. Get all books. Send. F6. This is the book's value. So even though you don't get to the proper output, you'll be able to see these intermittent outputs also. Like what could be the output? You'll be able to see within the variable names in your Eclipse if you're trying to debug something. Hence, it's like always try getting familiar with your Eclipse IDE, or you can make use of IntelliJ IDE also, any IDE. Um, um, keep working on the logic circuit, like keep working on write some code, debug them, and see what all possible ways we can use to get into a solution. So tomorrow, if I'm not getting the output right, and you don't know where you are breaking it, so simply put a debugger there. This is called a debug. This is called a breakpoint. With this breakpoint, I'm going to debug each and every value. So in my database, I have these two values, and with my books variable also, I'm getting these two values. So from coding perspective, I'm clear that way. So for you to get come out of those situations, try also debugging your source code using your debugging tools within your Eclipse. It will be easy for you. Is it clear? It's too much overhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll try to add a descriptive the whole descriptions of all the annotations within the PPT, and then share it across. And then we are also going to push the source code to the Git repository. So just you can clone them and keep it as a base template. So whenever you have any doubts like how and where to use the annotations, you can make use of this. And we are also going to share a few reference articles, so you can make use of them and just enhance your knowledge.
Bhavan, if you